back on a hill in the Mossy Creek bottoms of Cane Creek, Arkansas. This is Lighting the Void live. It is July the 3rd. What's today, man? Thursday. It's July the 3rd. All right, so we're going to get into the broadcast tonight. Remember, the show is live, so anything can happen. One, I like doing live. It's more authentic. I can't make it look all pretty. And two, video editing is just a bitch sometimes. So it's just better. Live is better because, I could mess up and you'll see it, right? Like I can't hide anything, so to speak. So we do everything live here. Thank you guys. If you're listening tonight, some of you are out with your families. I understand that. And I don't know how long the show is going to be tonight because I am doggy sitting for my son tonight. So the dog should be on its way over at any point in time tonight. And I'm excited to have a companion this 4th of July weekend. I just hope it ain't scared of fireworks because I'm going to be shooting them suckers off. But I'm looking forward to that. So, normally on the broadcast, we talk about consciousness, the out-of-body experience, things like that. I wanted to get into something tonight that has caught my attention for some time. Now, we don't like to judge on here. Like, don't get too political. Don't judge people. Not out to, bury anybody or something. But there's this thing that has been going on for a while. And I did tell you that, well, lots of people have told you that Aquarius and kind of Pluto and all of this stuff that's happening, making sure that we transform into our authentic self is a really important thing. Whether Aquarius is in Pluto or even if astrology is real, whatever you think, that's still an important thing. But I feel like that we're in a time when, if you don't start working on that, really working on it, that it's going to be worked on for you. And if you're doing the things to trick people, screw people over, manipulate people, buddy with people for your own reasons, whatever it is, humans do it. They do it. But I got a message this week about this twin flames thing. So I'm going to talk about this twin flames thing for a minute. If you believe in twin flames, that's fine. I think there's nothing wrong with believing in that. But there's this, we have to be careful as conscious explorers and spiritual people because we get, some of us, and I'm pointing at me here, we get, what do you call it? We can be naive sometimes because we think the best of people and the best of things, the positive outlook on lots of things. And so we can be a bit naive sometimes. And there's a couple of things I wanted to talk about. One, the out-of-body experience and what Thomas Campbell's saying it is and it isn't. But first, I wanted to get into this, and I'm going to see if I can if I'm doing this right. All of my fun tools, like the fancy tools and stuff that we have, I've been using a free service called Prism Live Studio, and they're about to change it to premium. So I'm going to have to reset all this up to broadcast it. It probably won't be as pretty, but I'm going to try. So there's this company called the Twin Flame Universe. And they're under investigation. And I got a message from Facebook that it's just from a listener. So it's remember that this isn't for me. This is from a listener. And they said, I won't name them, but finally they nailed these people. They raided the home 30 minutes. I don't know any of this. Whatever I'm saying has been reported to me. It doesn't mean it's fact. Before whatever I get in trouble for whatever. But so they raided the home 30 minutes from me. I know you may not care, but people need to be aware so they do not fall for this BS. This is what a listener sent me. These effers got people telling people to be guy, young guy, girl, and girl. I want to say that's guy and guy. She could be saying gay. I don't know. I don't know what she's saying. Telling people to be a certain way, I guess, when they flat out tell them that they are straight. And so many family members don't even get to see their own children anymore. And I really think you need to do a podcast on these people and expose them. I'm not into the I'm not into the business of exposing people. However, this is a little weird. Okay, the twin flames thing has always been a weird thing to me. Number one, if you love somebody, this is just my opinion. If you love somebody, you love them. You know you love them. You may never say anything to them. You may torture yourself with it. You may have your own feelings about it, but whatever. You don't need a coach to tell you how into somebody else you are, or how obsessed you are, or how you think about them all the time, or how you feel an energetic connection with them. I just don't think you need that stuff. But people do. We live in a world where people monetize everything. I mean, people get paid to play video games. That's the world we're in now. If you find value and you want to help someone, that's great. I think that is awesome. But there's a drawback to it, because now people can just sell anything. And I think this is a little scary, because if this person is telling me the truth, if they're telling me the truth that they're trying to turn people's sexual orientation, like if I went to you and said, hey, I'm straight or gay or whatever, and then you told me, no, I'm not, I'm this, and you tried to make me into something else, that's a little messed up. If for some reason I can't watch my children, that's a little messed up too. So I looked into this, and if anybody knows anything about this, please let me know. There are no investigations. I mean, there's an open investigation, but they're not saying what's going on. If you guys heard of this, please let me know. I'm going to see if I can play it here. They're called the Twin Flames Universe. People ask me this all the time too. Do you believe in that Twin Flames thing? Do you believe in that? And it's like, I don't really know what to say, because I don't know. I don't know if there's just one person out there that was tied to you before you were born. I don't know. And I don't think anybody knows that stuff. But let's just see. Let's just hear, because I'm not getting any information as to what, other than what this listener messaged me, what they're being charged for. Okay. One more time. A listener messaged me and said that they raided their homes. They're trying to turn people's sexuality to different things, even though people are telling them that they're either straight or gay. And some people can't see their kids. Right now, that's just hearsay. Even though the listener that told me this, I'm sorry I'm saying it that way, but unless we have documented fact, I don't want to report the stuff like that. But I want you to be aware of this. Okay? I want you to empower yourself in every single way. All right. Let's see what the deal is.
Developing news tonight, Attorney General Dana Nessel announcing an investigation into the so-called Twin Flames universe in northern Michigan. She says her office executed multiple search warrants on individuals at the top of the organization and its associated properties. Nessel says Twin Flames Universe, or TFU, is an organization with a largely online following operated by Jeff and Shalea Devine in Leelanau County, which gained national attention when it became the subject of a Netflix documentary, Escaping Twin Flames. It was February of 2024 that we talked with a former member about the organization, which says it helps manifest harmonious twin flame union, helping find, quote, your ultimate lover. In a news release sent up North Live News, Nessel said in part, quote, anyone with information about potential criminal conduct regarding Twin Flames Universe or their members are encouraged to contact my office and may do so anonymously. You can see the Attorney General's full statement and more details on our website, upnorthlive.com.
Okay, that's all I know.
Hi, I'm Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel. Today, my office, along with local law enforcement, the Michigan State Police, and the U.S. Department of Labor Office of Inspector General, executed search warrants on 2 residences as part of our investigation into Twin Flames Universe. Twin Flames is a largely online organization with leaders based in Leelanau County, Michigan, that allegedly uses coercive control over its members, both in Michigan and across the United States. We believe that many of their actions may have been illegal, and we're asking for the general public's help in this investigation. Anyone with information about potential criminal conduct regarding Twin Flames Universe, its operators, Jeff and Shalea Devine, Christine and Jason Emmerich, its related organizations, including the Church of Union and the mind alignment process or their members are encouraged to contact my office and may do so anonymously. A website has been set up with a tip
my
form,
computer's going crazy.
mi.gov/ag-tfu, or you can email us directly at ag-tfu info@mi.gov. Thank you for your help.
Okay, so, hold on.
Hi.
So nobody's saying what they're accused of. The only thing that I have is just from the listener. That's all I have. Like nobody's saying like what they're doing is illegal. Here's the thing. Like, well, I look at void walking and like conscious exploration as like more of a scientific thing, even though their spirituality is involved, for sure. But you have to be careful with cults. And I never thought I would even talk about this kind of stuff. But there is, I don't like this kind of conversation because I don't know these people. Okay, I don't know what they did. I don't know what they believe. But if there's a big time lawyer investigating them, something's going on. All right. So if any of you guys in our community, whether you're listening to this now or later, have any information on this, let me know, please, because I watched 10 videos on this, and I know a listener wants me to talk about it. I watched 10 videos on this, and I hear what you're saying. I hear the messages that you sent me, something about them being raided and all this other stuff, but there is no, at least that I know of, information yet on the internet that says what they're being accused of. So they're just under investigation. But with that said, what I would like to say about the whole twin flame thing is use your own judgment when it comes to that. Just like everything else we talk about, the out-of-body experience, UFOs, the paranormal, like use your own judgment. If you're going to, I think it's very important, like if you're going to partner up with somebody and say that they're your life partner, how do I put this? Because this is probably going to sound bad to some people, but I believe it to be true. And maybe one day I'll go into it, just not tonight, because it's almost the 4th of July. But when it comes to matters of the heart, there are so many variables and so many things that are going on, and we're all human. I would be really weary taking advice from anybody when it comes to matters of the heart. I think love works in an entirely different way. And maybe one day I'll explain that, but especially like, and I understand like our dependent nature as humans. I mean, we were put down here with all kinds of people because we're supposed to pair up. It's in our nature to do so. And when we're alone, we do everything we can to be happy alone, and then we pair up again, and it's just whatever. But I understand the need to want to do that, but to pay somebody hundreds and thousands of dollars, and dating coaches is one thing, life coaches is another. But like to say, man, I'm going to pay another human who was born on this earth. Remember, born on this earth, just as lost as you were when you were born here, guided by their parents. And as they became an adult, came up with their own conclusions, but still truly don't have the total answers to the mysteries, maybe some, and yet are going to tell you that they do. And not only that, partner you up with somebody for the rest of your life because you're invested. How do you know it's a cult is the big question. Like, what is cult activity? Well, cult activity is simple. I was talking to Bryce about this the other night. Like, you do a whole lot of things, and if it's a really good cult, they'll actually help your life, improve your life. You'll get happier. You'll have these big realizations. You'll feel a big life change. But what's really going on is the investment. So anytime you invest your time and money into things, and the more of that you invest, the more crazy stuff they can come throw on you in the end. And because you're invested, it's just human nature. It's hard to let go of. That's how cults work. So they could do awesome stuff for you your whole life, but at the end tell you the craziest thing, and you're like, shit, okay, I trust you. You've changed my life. You see what I mean? So I don't know how this, I'm not saying that these people are doing that. Just let me know what's going on, because I've been really interested in this subject for a long time. The whole twin flame. There's one person out there for me, and only one person. I think that's a decision. I believe in. I'm super traditional myself, just on a personal note, like I am. I like the idea of that and want to live that way. But to say that it's godly or heavenly appointed in such a way that you know that, and then I got to pay you money so you can help me find that person, that should be a massive red flag. Just going straight up right there. Okay? All right, so just to wrap that up, if you have any information, like real info on it, let me know. Because I don't even know what they're being accused of. I only have like what the listeners tell me. No offense to the listener. I just don't want to speak about things as if they're facts until we get all the facts in. But these people have been doing this stuff for a while. You know, the twin flame thing. All right. I love 4th of July and Halloween's like my two favorite holidays. So, another thing I wanted to talk about tonight, on a personal note, another thing that I've been struggling with and would like your feedback on. I would like to get Thomas Campbell back on the broadcast. Of course, I would have to, make it worth his while to talk to him about this. So from what I'm understanding is, now that I've watched so many videos on Thomas Campbell, is that he's saying that my OBE experience that I had isn't really true. Now, I've listened to Darius Wright. You guys talk about him a lot, talk about the OBE experience too. And what he's saying, what Thomas Campbell's saying is everything's a virtual system, everything's a virtual reality. You're not really leaving your body, because consciousness isn't inside of your body and then it's nowhere else. It's everywhere. So you're leaving, I guess, the concept of your body or something, but you're not really leaving the body. You weren't in the body to begin with. And fair enough. Like, I do believe that, who am I to challenge this? This made me so insecure that I took an IQ test. I'm not going to tell you what my score is, because there's nothing worse than someone bragging about their IQ score. But I did take an IQ test because I'm like, am I stupid? Do I not get my experience? So I took an IQ test, and I'm pretty happy with the score. That's all the bragging I'll do about that. Nothing worse than listening to someone say, "Oh, it's stupid," right? So, anyways, here's where the stuff tosses me up. Consciousness is in everything, in everything. So are you saying that I can place my consciousness in that punching bag over there, in that refrigerator, in the door, in my toe? Can I see and do all these different things? I'm not saying that my consciousness is trapped in my body, but what I am telling you is from my experience, that when my body fell asleep, my mind stayed awake, and I peeled myself out of the body, even though you say I didn't really peel myself out of the body. What Darius Wright talks about, and where I agree with him on certain things, is there's definitely something to the body when it comes to consciousness, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's definitive, right? Because when you peel yourself out of body, let's just leave to the side what Thomas Campbell's saying for a minute. When you peel yourself out of body, there's a magnetic pull back to your body, and it's not a subconscious thing. Like, I'm afraid I'm going to die or whatever. It's just there. I've never was afraid when I was doing the OBE stuff, not once, that I was going to die or not come back to my body. And matter of fact, the whole vibratory state, it made me excited. I worked really, really hard on it. Now, if you want to say that maybe consciousness is more powerful than we understand, and that when I had that peeling out experience like Robert Monroe talks about, that I believed in it and was invested in it so much that it became that real. Okay, well, I'll follow you on that, but I still don't believe that consciousness, like, the form of consciousness that we have while we're inside this body is the same exact way that it is in everything. I don't doubt that consciousness is in everything, that everything is made up of some type of observable virtual reality. But what I'd like to talk to him about is then the body, according to Thomas, is just an experience vessel, like an avatar. Why is there such a magnetic pull then back to it when you leave it? It's not, I mean, the only thing that I've heard other people say about that is it's a fear state. Well, how that doesn't make sense, because if consciousness was like, I've never went against Thomas Campbell on the air. It's not a big deal. I'm just trying to understand this. There's not, if it was a fear state, then my consciousness or consciousness has been around way before my body. I was having like weird out of body experiences when I was a child. Okay. I would walk downstairs and I didn't really know I was in a dream until I freaked myself out. Like the spoons in the kitchen would start wiggling and I'd be like, oh shit, I'm in a dream or something. I'd freak myself out and I'd wake up. I also was in, dreams where I felt like I was flying and getting thrown around and tossed around so much that I could feel like my stomach swirling, like you're on the Gravitron or a roller coaster. Lots of people have said that that's an OBE experience, okay, but I'll go with what Thomas Campbell says. Maybe it's all just an illusion. If it is an illusion, if it's all just a virtual illusion, then what would be the point, I guess, is what I need to ask him, for consciousness to make the body such a magnetic force when you get outside of it. Like the way Darius Wright explains it, and I'm not saying he's better or worse or more of an expert or whatever, he just has his own beliefs, but the way he explained it, according to my experience, made way more sense. Right. So what Darius Wright says is that you have a magnetism in your body. Now, there's some science to kind of prove this, right? This energetic sphere, the polarization of our body. I'm sure there's a little science to back it up. I didn't get to go into that research, but we do have poles or magnetism in our body. When you're awake, it's so magnetized, I guess you could say, that there's no slippage or whatever, unless like what Muldoon talked about. If you get hit in the head or you go unconscious, you might slip out a little bit. When the body goes to sleep, it feels like what that vibratory state is, that humming in your body. The way he explains it makes perfect sense. That's how I can tell that Darius Wright's actually had an out-of-body experience. The way he's describing it is that the magnetism isn't as intense as you are when you're consciously awake. So that vibration is that part of you that kind of lets go. So your consciousness gets to, let's just say, move away from the body. You can still feel the magnetic force pulling you back. It's almost like walking in water sometimes. And then the further away you get away from your body, the less the magnetism is. All right. So with that being said, how can Thomas Campbell, and I'm not trying to get polar or argue with him, I'd really like to discuss this, say that the out-of-body experience isn't really true. Because if that's the case, then like I said, I'm over there, I'm in the couch, I'm in the punching bag, I'm in the television, but I'm making decisions in my body. I can't see with my finger. I can't see and do all these things, make quick decisions inside that punching bag. Matter of fact, when you have an OBE experience, especially when you're like closer to the body, if you start moving through things, there's certain things that you'll actually feel. Certain things you won't, but certain things that you will. So the only thing that he could be saying in that case, unless I'm wrong, is that the virtual reality is so deeply embedded, and I mean deeply embedded, because I'm going to tell you The first time I had the OBE experience, when I, peeled myself out and turned around and saw myself sleeping, it did not feel like there was any transition. It felt like I just set up. I didn't even think that it worked. There was no anything. There was no trick. There was no any type of dream feeling. The way, if you're listening to this right now, whether it's live or later, the way your consciousness is right now is how my consciousness was. The way things look, majoritively, the way things are. Maybe not, here's the weird thing, maybe not the cicadas outside. Maybe, I do remember a hum, but I'm not sure if I remember the bugs. Again, I don't doubt that consciousness is in everything, that it's in all things. It's obvious, like consciousness is movement. If you look at everything, it's like, it's everywhere for sure. But that doesn't mean that there can't be other forms that are, I guess you could say, more perceptive, more active, more influential than other forms of consciousness inside this virtual reality. And this meat suit that isn't even real is just a rule or subset system of rules inside of a video game. So that when I peel myself out, that magnetic feeling that I'm feeling, that whole thing that he's talking about, maybe that's because of the subset of the rules of the video game. But to say that the out-of-body experience isn't true, it felt weird hearing him say that, because it's like he's negated everything that I've ever experienced or studied. Which brings me to this last point about this. And this is going to be hard to say. I think that there are some people that just haven't had it happen the way it's happened to me. Give you an example. It doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter how educated you are, how much you practice, how much you know about consciousness. Like, I wonder sometimes if some people's experiences are not the same as others, and they're trying to call it the same thing through communication. And, when people say, oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But they really don't, Because most people will tell you, oh, you must have been dreaming. It must have been a lucid dream. It must have been some kind of illusion, or it's your consciousness playing tricks on you. And then when you get down to it, the physicist is saying, well, it's all a virtual reality. So it still is an illusion, just a very intense illusion. Okay, well, when I hear people explain their out-of-body experience, a lot of times, other than a few people that I've read, like Muldoon, Robert Monroe. Did I say his name right? Muldoon, yeah, Robert Monroe. And Darius Wright, Robert Bruce, a few other people. That Derek, I think that they've had the experience that I've had. It'd just be like if you saw like how I am about Bigfoot or aliens. You let's say you really saw one of those things. You really had that experience. And I tell you, well, you probably had that experience because you were in some sort of altered state of consciousness. That's my bias based on my experiences and all of my research. But the truth is, you could have actually had an experience of seeing an entity, right? You see what I'm saying? What I'm trying to say is just because you're smart, you're confident, you have a massive education and years of study, and you might have even worked with Robert Monroe himself, if there's still a chance, there is still a possibility, and you have to accept this, or otherwise I don't think you could be a scientist, that we're not having the same experiences. We have to put that on the table. And I know it's hard to accept because I'm no friar. I don't claim to be any kind of guru or whatever. I think that's ridiculous. All right. So I think we're all kind of equal on that ground, just trying to figure out the same stuff. But so hopefully nobody gets offended by me saying that. But regardless, I think someone could be massively spiritual, massively intelligent, initiated and an adept and enlightened and all of that stuff. Super intelligent. Stack it up how you want to stack it. Years of experience, and yet may not have the same experience someone else has. Because I'm finding 10 to 20 people talking about this out-of-body experience the same way, and another people saying it's all a subset of virtual reality and a matrix. It could be. But if it is, I guess what I'm saying, if it is a matrix, if it is a VR or whatever, then that out-of-body experience, that peeling out effect that we have, that magnetic pull, the vibrations, everything that happens, right, is the greatest illusion ever. And it may be. But I'd like to talk to him about that. Another thing too is, I know that in the conspiracy world, there's a lot of people that say space is fake and all this other stuff, and I get that, but whatever. Let's just pretend for you guys that space isn't fake. Thomas Campbell also believes that it's redundant to have any other kind of entities in the universe. I'd like to talk to him about that, like why? Not just, really talk to him about it. Not just say, oh, yeah, it's Thomas Campbell, like, the wise one. And he is very wise. Don't get me wrong, right? He is. Anybody that's been through what he's been through is going to have some experiences and know quite a bit about consciousness. I do believe he's one of the best and greatest conscious explorers on the planet. And I still look up to him. I just wonder, this is all I'm saying, I just wonder sometimes if we're having the same experiences. Because I saw him on a broadcast where a guy said, remote viewing and the out-of-body experience is the same thing. It's pretty much the same thing. It's just you're believing it to be one or the other. And I'm thinking, but it's not the same thing. Remote viewing is me shutting my eyes and using the pictures in my mind pretty much to go somewhere. And if those pictures line up with wherever I'm going, then I've remote viewed it. The OBE experience is I've done my own tests with this, damn it. And others have too. Not just scientists, spiritualists, Dr. Stylianos Teteschlis, Daskalos. Other people have done these things where we've tested the physical world while we're out of body and have been able to get feedback from it. So when someone goes, it's the same thing as a lucid dream, it's just a different level, or it's the same thing as remote viewing, it's just a different thing. All I'm saying is it makes me wonder that, are we having the same experience? Are we? Okay. We definitely may not be. Because I can shut my eyes right now and meditate. And I can do what's called active imagination. Or I can just let things come to my mind. And they could be accurate. I've even done that. I've even shut my eyes, nodded off for a minute, and found myself in a place, this was only one time in my life, where someone else actually was, picturing the room where they were. I believe I had some kind of frequency connection with that person at the time. A lot of people claim they have that. I've only experienced it, but for a short moment. But we proved that it was kind of real. But I wasn't out of my body. But would some people call that an out-of-body experience? Sure, I guarantee you they would. Would some people call a lucid dream that was so real that, they might have woke themselves up and then found themselves awake again, out-of-body experience the way I'm talking about? Sure, they would call that. Or remote. But the thing is are we having the same experience? How do we verify that we're having the same experiences, no matter what your background is? Because we're talking about consciousness here. We're not talking about math, physics, chemistry, calculus, the education that we've taught each other, books that we're studying that we've taught each other. We're talking about consciousness, which is still a mystery. So you and I and all of these other people are pretty close to the same level. Some of us have our own experiences in our lives, and we have our own theories. But as far as knowing the answer to what it is, we're all on the same kind of level. We're close to the same level anyways, I'd say. I would really, really, even though, I've taken a hiatus from the podcast for about a year for creative reasons to try to figure out what I'm doing, and I've just been kind of doing this live thing, I would really like to get Thomas back on and discuss these things, that and the idea that there's no life outside of us, no physical life outside of us. He doesn't believe in that. He says that the system, there's maybe like 8.5 billion people on this planet. So for the system to create more would be kind of redundant. Systems don't do that. And I get what he's saying, because there's enough variables in 8.5 billion people. And yet we still keep increasing in population, and we see all these planets and galaxies. I think there was another like random, what was it? It was like a random galaxy that just popped up the other day. Definitely could be a virtual reality system, but to say that there's no other life forms out there, like, I'd still like to go deeper into that, And maybe you guys could give me your feedback on what you think about that too. Like, is it possible that, for instance, I'm going to go real stretch here to try to get you to understand what I'm saying. Let's take Jesus Christ himself. Okay. According to all the spiritualist people, Jesus Christ, Buddha, Muhammad, these people you can't get any better than that as far as enlightenment is concerned. But could it be possible that when all three of those reach enlightenment, if they're having three different experiences, that it's not so formulaic as we think it is? Just like if you had Neil deGrasse Tyson and Thomas Campbell going neck to neck, they're both the same intelligence. One has explored consciousness more, maybe the one, not the other. But when they speak about virtual reality systems, math and consciousness and data structures and things like that, they'll probably be on the same level. Are they having the same experiences? Maybe not. Or a magician even. Someone that's an adept in ceremonial magic, and you're just trying to figure out the tarot. Yet you've had a full-fledged peeling out experience of your body, whatever, and they've been remote viewing or doing something different, and you're both calling it the same things, but you're not having the same. It doesn't mean one's better than the other. All I'm saying is it possible that all these people are having different experiences, calling things the same thing? And people like me or Darius or Robert Bruce or you or whoever has had that, that vibratory state, peeled themselves out. There was nothing nothing changed in consciousness, nothing. Just like you're now, right now. You had that experience. And yet people are telling you, well, remote viewing's the same thing. It's just, it's just different. If it's not insulting, I hope you don't take it that. It's not insulting. It's more like, I feel like I'm experiencing something that we all experience in our life when we tell somebody, I've done this, I've felt this happened to me, and they don't believe you, or they relate it to something that is not even really what you're talking about. And you can't argue it because they're an expert in their field. We're talking about a guy that went side by side with Robert Monroe, which I respect. We're talking about a guy that we've listened to his tapes of conscious exploration. And I've heard him talk about colors and different things and different feelings that he felt as he was going out of body. But I just would like to go deeper into that discussion so that maybe I can understand what he's trying to say a little bit more. Because I'm lining up with some of these other people and some of just a couple of things he's saying. It's just like everything adds up except for those couple of things that he's saying. PK said, that's weird of him to say that and all that. Did he try and define what true or real means? No, I don't know what. I'm sure you could find it because I was trying to dig deeper into the research about out-of-body experiences, especially as far as like what he's saying they are. And I keep coming across the conspiracy videos because, you know, Loosh and Trap Planets and Soul Prisons. So I have to wade through a lot of stuff to get to the point. But what he said was to this guy is that you're not actually, he did say it. He said it's not true. Whether you're remote viewing or you're out of body, it's not true. And I was like, oh, because I know I've been outside of my body, or at least my body has been asleep. And I've been consciously moving around the same room, watching, you know, messing with stuff, even messing with physical things. I know what experience I've had, so I need a further explanation of what he's saying, that's all. Because I go back and I listen to all of his OB experiences and they're not quite the same as everyone else's. And look, consciousness is a tricky son of a bitch. It is. It's meant to be that way. That's why it's great to explore and try to figure it out. If you go listen to all the Monroe tapes, none of the there you will find what I call parallelograms in conscious exploration. If you know in math, you remember in math what like a parallelogram is. So two different experiences, but there's a couple of things about each experience that run the same or on the same kind of thing. And those are where we're going to find our truths and get deeper down to the bottom of things. I think the rest of it's filters. You know, some people will take a religious context into their Monroe experience or conscious exploration, or they'll start channeling entities or whatever. Others will just see colors and say they're traveling. And I've even listened to his books where people start talking about geometrical shapes. But if you listen carefully in all of that, you'll find the parallelograms, right? And what I'm afraid of, just like this whole twin flame thing is, I'm not concerned if like, I don't spend my time fearing people that don't think for themselves. That used to scare me. It really did. I'd like, you know, don't be stupid. Don't do this, because I was afraid I was living in a world that I was surrounded by a bunch of dumb people, and dumb people are going to hurt me. Or they're going to make my life worse or something. But now I just assume that everybody can think for themselves, and if we're all on the same level, we'll all get there eventually, so whatever. But what I am afraid of is the influence of intelligence when it comes to consciousness. We definitely need intelligence when it comes to consciousness. We need intelligence in the left brain in everything we do. But when someone comes across as more experienced, more intelligence, they can put on a good presentation, they're confident, they can sell anything. And I'm not talking about Thomas Campbell. I'm talking about this twin flame thing. Okay. These are consciousness is a mystery so deep. To me, it's so deep. This inner verse, this conscious realm, whatever you want to call it, is so deep that no amount of confidence, intelligence, experience, the ability to present, or any of that should captivate you so much from having your own experience and thinking for yourself. And I would hope that as a void walker, that's the only cult I'm a member of. As a void walker, you think for yourself, you have your own experiences, you do your own research. Even your own spiritual progression is yours. The formulas you use to get to wherever you're going, they become your thing. But I'm going to let tonight go and say that I have faith that I will be able to talk to Thomas Campbell again about this, and maybe I could figure out where exactly is he coming from, as far as like the questions that I have, and that we'll continue to do the OBE experience. Look, man, the vibratory state thing is there's nothing illusory about it. It's not a program or I mean, I guess it could be a subset of rules in nature, in the nature program. But the experience I had is real. It's 100% happened. And I'm having issues with what he's saying, not combative or polar issues. Just I need to understand what he's saying deep and on a deeper level. I haven't found a podcast that has a good enough explanation yet to the mysteries of consciousness on that matter. Anyways, I hope all of you, I have a puppy on the way I have to sit. I'm excited. I hope all of you have a great 4th of July weekend. And I've got some things coming down the pipe for all the supporters to, that it's going to be more simple, but you're going to want to be involved with it. And even for just this show, it's going to be kind of a new thing, but I love each and every one of you. If you have any feedback about the Twin Flame investigation, you can email me at lightingthevoid@gmail.com. All right. And if you have any comments about the Thomas Campbell thing, you can always do the same thing or hit us up in Discord too. We're always in the Discord. So I love each and every one of you guys. I'm going to roll out of here. Enjoy the rest of the 4th of July weekend. And I hope you do too. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Night out, y'all. Sweet dreams.
He's only stuck on himself, and then he has the nerve to say he needs a decent girl.